Hey, no running and running. Payday, payday. You'll want the payday. I know that Canelo Alvarez breaks the news. Terence Crawford, he does not think he's going to be running. Crawford ain't finna be running in the ring. A brand new interview from Payday Alvarez, where he talks about the concept of running in the sport of boxing. And he defines it, which we need a baseline. What is running? What does that constitute? Is this style running? Is this running? Canelo gives his take on it. So in this video, that's what your boy Ego, I'm going to break down. You see, I got the headphones. We going to gear up. What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. The one and only, the incomparable, unstoppable, the holy apostle. Listen, I make boxing look pretty. Yeah, I came with the game and made it look pretty. The best in the business, and it's not even close. Canelo Alvarez getting ready to fight Crawford. He did an interview with Ring, and he talks about what running is. Now, I'm going to let you listen to it first, and then I got a lot to say. So stay tuned to the end of this video so you can get my truest thoughts. Again, this be the realest stuff I ever wrote against all odds. Roll the clip.
To have a good fight, you need both fighters. Boxing is you throw, you get in there and move your waist, move around a little bit, but throw punches, get in there. That's boxing. But when you have one fighter like we saw with the skull, like running and running, that's not that kind of fight you want, right? And it's very difficult to close that waist and everything. You close him, he jump right away. It's very difficult. What kind of style is that?
The only running that I'm going to be doing is running upside his head, and I can assure you that.
Do you have any concern that there's going to be any running in this fight?
I hope not. I think Crawford is not that kind of fighter. He's a different. He box.
I say, Whoa. So that was Canelo Alvarez in a brand new interview, people. And just to paraphrase, in case you did, he has an accent. His English is pretty good, though. But in case you didn't really understand what he was saying, Canelo is saying there's a difference between boxing, like being a boxer, and moving, and then you throw some punches. Like, you getting some punches in there. Then you, like, take a lap. Then you get some more punches. Right? And I agree with that. I agree. Like, my thing is this. If you know my channel, I've been doing this from way back. We go back like cornrows. I have never really been big on this whole, like, running language. Like, I don't, because you got to understand, old media, they were the ones that came out with this whole running charade. And I don't like it because it was initially used to, like, maim and marginalize oftentimes black fighters and Cuban fighters. When non-black, non-Cuban fighters would face certain black fighters or Cuban fighters primarily, they would get hit with this, like, oh, he ran moniker. And the reason you know it was racially motivated is because if you actually know boxing and you watch the fight, that's not even what was happening in the fights where they would claim that oftentimes a black fighter or Cuban fighter ran. Like Erislandy Lara versus Canelo. I thought Lara won the fight with Canelo. And Lara was doing some very good work. Canelo started doing some good body shots in the back half. But very good performance by Lara. People were like, oh, he ran. Like, he used movement, but he wasn't running. He was punching on Canelo. Another one with Canelo is Floyd Mayweather. Floyd fought near perfect, like a perfect. You win. Perfect. Like, he had a perfect fight. Yet and still you had dummies talking about Floyd ran. Floyd gave Canelo so many different looks. It was crazy. Off the ropes, aggressor, on the back foot, box, brawl. I mean, he did it all in that fight. And really, in the 11th round, he started bowling uppercut. He was feeling himself. He started really slicing up Canelo. So for me, a lot of times the whole running like stigma or name tag was put on the wrong fighters because old media was mad because their normal action fighter style would not fare well with these style of fighters who use their brain, use their punching, and use their legs. But I can't agree with Canelo here in terms of there are some people who are taking the hit, don't get hit, and they are doing it wrong. Like they're not doing it right. Let me explain. Boxing Customato said to Mike Tyson, he's like, that's it. Hit where you can hit your opponent and he can't hit you back, right? We know that's boxing. But you got to look at it. Hit and don't get hit, right? Or people bring up Muhammad Ali. Rumble, young man. I shook up the world, right? The greatest, Muhammad Ali, right? From Kentucky. They always bring up his quotes. Float like a butterfly, sting like a bee. But people are doing it wrong. They'll tell you to float like a butterfly, which is all that. Like, that's the float. The Ali shuffle, ha, 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 on your feet, and bah, like, that's the float. But the other part of the sentence is sting like a bee. So he's saying, using these two insects, you want to float like a butterfly, but then have the stinging power and the aggression of a bee. So people, what they're doing is they're like perverting that, and they're just saying float like a butterfly for 12 rounds. Or they're taking hit and don't get hit, and they're just doing the don't get hit part. That's why Shakur Stevenson was criticized for the Edwin De Los Santos, because offensively, he wasn't really doing too much, right? He wasn't. And Edwin wasn't doing too much offensively either, but he was the aggressor. So it was really because Edwin couldn't corner Shakur, similar to Canelo. Canelo couldn't really corner William Skull, which in and of itself, that is a problem with the boxer. You got to work on cutting off the ring and use energy to try to prevent that. A jab is a great way to corner people, and you have to anticipate. So Canelo says in this interview that it's difficult when you try to engage and then they jump back and they just keep running. So I'm not big on the whole he ran junk that's in boxing, but in this modern generation, there are a lot of people, I would say, that it is closer to running than some of the other people who have been chastised. Like people said Rigondeaux ran from Nonito Donaire. He didn't. He was like, he had Nonito Donaire seeing doubles in the 12th round. Donaire said that, right? So these aren't good examples. The fighters of yesteryear who were criticized, like Floyd and maybe Pernell Whitaker or Rigondeaux, Edeslandi Lara, those aren't good examples of running. They're boxers. They're truly boxing. However, there have been performances from Devin Haney or Shakur, not really Devin too much, except for Jose Ramirez fight. That was the one where he kind of like, all right, bro. Like, he never really settled in. He almost had like a nervous energy to that fight coming off the Ryan fight. Shakur, he has a couple where it's like lackluster. That's why he tried to fight all machismo in the Zepeda fight. So I understand what Canelo's talking about to a degree. It's still your responsibility to chase the person, cut off the ring, and chase them down. That's no excuse if you haven't worked on that. You know William Skull was probably going to do that, and it is what it is. So some people do it excessively, like William Skull, right? You're because William Skull wasn't engaging too much. He got the movement and making Canelo look dumb. He got that part down. The punching into the ropes and making Canelo miss, but you got to make them miss and make them pay. So people got to tell both sides of it. You know, you can't just make them miss and then they missing and you dodging the shots, but then you're not making them pay for it. Floyd would make you miss, then make you pay. He even said that. So that's that. As far as Canelo Crawford, the great thing is I haven't really seen a fight where Crawford ran. The fight I covered of Terence Crawford, I know y'all say, oh, you hate Crawford and all this stuff. I've been covering Crawford before y'all was even boxing fans. But a fight that I went to Omaha for was Ray Beltran. I was credentialed media for that fight. And that's the fight where he probably boxed the most. But we don't typically even see Crawford box that much, like where he's like moving so much. But against Ray Beltran, he did. So we'll see what he has for Canelo in the Canelo fight. But Crawford has not ever been known to not want the funk. You know what I mean? Crawford is like right there. He's there. He's bringing it to you. The big difference here is he's jumping up in weight. So can Canelo put him in positions, pause, but put him in a predicament or whatever where he's forced to move a lot more based on the sheer power and size. That is the interesting takeaway that people are going to be paying attention to and looking out for. But historically, Crawford told you himself, he said the only running I'm going to be doing, running my hands upside his head. And so far in the lighter divisions, at least 54 and under, that's what Crawford does. He don't back away from the fire, which could be dangerous against a bigger person. But hopefully, I don't have much faith that this fight is going to deliver what people are expecting, but hopefully I'm wrong. I like to be wrong. At this point, I get so much right, I could afford to be wrong. So hopefully it is the fight that they're talking about. No one's running and it's an action fight and Crawford don't run and Canelo stands his ground. I mean, hopefully it's the fight that they're kind of alluding to. So it sounds like at least from the talking, I know everybody has a plan till they get punched in the mouth, but from the talking, Canelo and Crawford seem to be on the same page in a collision course where neither guy's really trying to back up. So that should make for a great fight in theory. I just have my doubts, but we'll see. Subscribe.